Good morning, everybody. I wanted to do a very quick video about this module in CTI 110, which is talking about FTP use. And FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol, and it is just a simple way for us to get files that we have created, so HTML files, CSS files, image files, uploaded to a web server so that everyone would be able to access them over the web. The process is pretty straightforward. However, I realize that some of you may have never seen FileZilla or any other type of FTP application before, and since we're not in class, I thought this would be a great way for us to look at it together. So first and foremost, if you don't have FileZilla installed on your computer, you're going to need to do that. And the PowerPoint in this module has the link on slide 2 at the bottom that you can follow in order to download FileZilla. When you get to the download screen, it looks something like this, and if you're running any modern version of Windows, you can just click this Download FileZilla Client green button in order to get that. When the file downloads, you'll have to install it. So it'll go to your Downloads folder, and you'll double-click it and install it, which is a pretty quick process. FileZilla is not a big application by any means. And once you do that, you will get a screen that looks like this. So when I start FileZilla, this is what I see. And there are several pieces of information that we have to put in at the top up here in this login area. And all of us will be using the exact same information in order to make this work. So the host is typically your domain name. So for us, we set up a temporary test site for students to play with that is rcccit.com. So that's our host. And our username is a generic account that we created for all students to use in CTI 110. And it is student at, it is CTI at rcccit.com. CTI at rcccit.com. The password is Beacon. So Beacon as in the school's mascot. And that is all lowercase, BEACON. And you always have to put a port number in to do secure FTP interactions anyway. And that port number is 21. So you can just type in 21 and either hit enter on your keyboard or hit quick connect here next to the login information that you have submitted. So I'll hit enter. It will ask us if we want to trust this website, if we want to trust rcccit.com. And we're going to say yes, we do. Click OK, and it's going to log us in. We know that it's worked correctly if this console area here, if there's nothing in red, you're good. If for some reason the connection was to fail, one of these lines would be in red and it would print out some type of error message like unable to connect or incorrect login information or something like that. You also know that it's working correctly if on this side of the screen under Remote Site, you see several instructors' last names. So very quickly, how your screen is divided is Remote Site is on the right-hand side of your screen. Local Site is on the left-hand side of your screen. And that's a complicated way of saying that everything here on the left is saved on your local machine. It is in your C drive, or you can even navigate to a flash drive that you've plugged into your computer or something like that. Everything on the right-hand side of your screen is the folder structure on the web server. So there are 4 instructors this semester teaching CTI 110, and there are 4 folders here. So all of you are in my class, Mr. Hubbard's class, so you would select Hubbard, and when you single click on it, you can see down here, you can see all the folders inside of it. 19 directories here, all the different students. Or you can click the little plus sign that appears after you highlight my name, and then you see all of the folders that way as well. So essentially, this module is asking you to use the starter file at the very bottom of the module. It's index.html. It's attached to the last item, or you can find it in your student data files, either way. And there's a series of steps in Appendix C that you do to that HTML file. And then instead of saving the HTML file or zipping it and putting it on Blackboard as you normally do, you're going to upload it to the web server with your name, the folder on the web server with your name on it, and you're going to turn in a URL instead of the actual file. So I'll show you what this would look like for me. Under my instructor folder here, I created a student folder for myself too. So Hubbard Z right here, and if I click that, that folder is empty, and all of your folders are currently empty too. So the index.html file that we work with in Appendix C, we want to upload here. So for me, locally, that's in my Downloads folder. So I can click my Downloads folder right here. It's going to display the contents of my Downloads folder, or I can hit the little plus sign there next to it as well. And index.html is in this list in Downloads. So there is my index.html file that I need to get from my computer on this side to the web server on this side. And the easiest way to do that is simply to drag index.html over to this remote site and let go. It'll ask me once again to trust the certificate. I will say OK. And you'll see some text appear down here in the console. You might also get a flag notification if you're running Windows 10 that's saying all files have been successfully transferred. And now you see index.html over here on the remote site inside of this folder. So we know we've uploaded it correctly, and the next step would be to view it on the web. So if you continue looking at the PowerPoint that Ms. Curley and I posted online in the module, on slide 12, it shows you an example of what your URL would look like, what your web address would look like. So this is fake names, but they're using our domain, our temporary domain we set up, www.rcccit.com/CTI, because that's the folder we set up for all CTI students, / the instructor's name, so this example used Mrs. Allen as the instructor, / student name, so in this case we made up Fred Flintstone, and if you put a folder inside of your name like Appendix C or something like that, you'd have to include that, and then index.html. So I'm going to copy this URL from the example PowerPoint, and I'm going to go to Firefox, open up a new tab, and I'm going to paste this link in. Okay, so remember this link had a bunch of sort of made up information in it, so we're going to have to replace the pieces that are wrong in order to make this right. So the first one is the instructor section there. Since for all of you it will be my last name, we'll just update that to say Hubbard, and that was lowercase. We did the instructor names as lowercase. And Flintstone F here, that is going to be last name, first initial for the student name. So my student folder was Hubbard Z. And that is case sensitive, so you would want a capital at the beginning of your last name and a capital first initial there, just like that. And I did not make a folder, Appendix C folder, to put index.html in. I just put index.html in my Hubbard Z folder like that. So when I've corrected my URL to match what yours should be, you should be able to hit enter, and there is our index.html file. And that is our full, complete, and correct URL listed up here on the address bar. Disclosure, I did not go through and update index.html as the Appendix C instructions tell you to do, so mine does not look as fancy as yours does, but this is essentially what you're going to do with it when you're done. Alright, so at that point, all you have to do is select this URL up here and copy it. And that's what you're turning in, the full URL to the files that you have created here in Appendix C. Now you are more than welcome to play around with this in any way that you like. If you want to upload some of your projects from module A, B, C, D, any of those, you're welcome to do that. Just remember that if you have a HTML file that also has a CSS file that also has images along with it to make it work, that you're going to want to make sure you upload all of those files in the same folder. So with FileZilla here still open, if I had a CSS file that went with this index.html file, I would upload it right here in that same folder. You just have to watch your file names exactly as you did when you were working on those assignments in the previous modules. All right, that is FTP in a nutshell. And remember, all you're turning in to me is this web address that you figured out with your index.html file showing up on the other end. Thank you.